Hello out there, everyone. Today we're going to take a quick look at this Kino Lorber Blu-ray of Target, a 1985 film directed by Arthur Penn, who most notably did Bonnie and Clyde and I believe Night Moves and Little Big Man. So definitely a director of some repute. And this film, of course, was made in the mid-'80s when his career had slowed down some. And one could argue that it was, obviously not up to the level of those three films. But I find, firstly, Gene Hackman is just always bringing it. Whenever he was in a film, regardless of the quality, he was just always had that gravitas, and you enjoyed watching his characterizations. It also features Matt Dillon, who I'm a big fan of. I feel like he is one of those underrated actors that I don't believe gets enough due. He, of course, was in The Outsiders, Over the Edge, Kurt Cobain's favorite film. He was in Rumblefish, Drugstore Cowboy, Something About Mary. Just a terrific actor, and I would argue one that has a lot of range. So these two leads were definitely the reason for the pickup. The movie I remember seeing when it was on HBO way back when, and I remember enjoying it, and having rewatched it now for the first time in well over 30 or almost 40 years, I can tell you that it's not great, but it's entertaining. It's got a great score, and I enjoy seeing the two play off of each other. It's interesting, though, when you look at this cover art, the slipcase, and then the cover art on the DVD, you see here Matt Dillon holding a gun. He never holds a gun in the film. Of course, the movie is just the classic setup where Matt Dillon plays Gene Hackman's son. They have a sort of everyday life in Texas. Gene Hackman's wife goes to a trip to Paris and apparently is kidnapped while over there. And you learn through a phone call that, she's missing. They don't know that she's kidnapped just yet, but the Gene Hackman character and the Matt Dillon character head over there to try to figure out what happened, try to find their wife and mom. So that's the setup, and then you learn, of course, that Gene Hackman is not an everyman, that in fact he was a CIA agent, and Matt Dillon learns this for the first time, and so there's just an interesting father-son dynamic. There's some comedic elements to the film. There's a little bit of action. Interestingly, the stunt coordinator was also on A View to a Kill, which of course had more notable action work. But on balance, though, I think the reason this film still is worth a rewatch and is definitely still shelf worthy is Gene Hackman and Matt Dillon, seeing them in a film together do their thing. Now, I would concede that this is an earlier film of Matt's, and one that you could tell he chose it because he was going to act opposite Gene Hackman. But he was not as confident, I think, in his characterization of the son, and he's a little bit all over the place. But I think he's still good. It's just maybe he could have dialed it down a little bit. Now, this release is Kino Lorber, of course, and you've got the slipcase, you've got the DVD, and you have a pretty Spartan supplemental offering, an audio commentary by entertainment journalist Arthur Brian Roseman, I believe, and Max Every. And I apologize if I misread that. I don't have my readers on. And it's entertaining. I think they do a good job sort of talking about the production and the film's, less than stellar box office, and of course, it had mixed reviews. It was not considered a great film by any stretch, but I think there's still plenty to like about this movie. I really do think that Gene Hackman gives it his all. Matt Dillon is still good, if a little bit uneven, and I think that the story is fair. It's not revelatory, and in fact, I think the ending is surprisingly suspenseful, despite the fact that they managed to come up with an action set piece that doesn't have much action at all, but it still manages to be effective. I think it's a good ending. I think the second half of the film is probably better than the first half, and I also really enjoy the score. I think the score is rock solid. It's one of those somewhat 80s-esque synth score, but it doesn't feel as dated as others do of that era. So on balance, I definitely think this is worth a pickup. The PQ and AQ are solid, and I think, again, if you're a fan of either Gene Hackman or Matt Dillon, this is definitely one to watch. So on that note, please take care out there, everyone. Stay safe, be kind, and by all means, keep watching good cinema.